powerful space, I guess, you would have refound those techniques that you needed at the start in the early days when no one's really watching you about it because it is a way that you can really leverage and be seen. And so many people are on social media now, but that means also that so many people are on social media. So there is a lot of noise and a lot of competition, but I feel like men don't apologize about taking money. Like, if you think, I heard this example, a man skims through like a job advertisement. If they fit like about 20.
Special guest, we share the flame. Through every word we claim our name.
Hey Sparklers, how we doing? So if you don't know me, I am Emperor Sparkle. I am here to help guide you and hopefully show you that there's other people out there helping you on your spiritual journey. So if you will, don't forget to like, comment, and certainly subscribe if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more. So Megan, would you mind introducing yourself for me, please?
I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Megan. I blend the two of intuition and systems to really empower women to unlock their own spark and their own genius. So I created Chico Society to be an ecosystem for women, not to separate their lives from business, but to empower them both. And I do that through just ensuring that their soul is the spark that keeps them going and building systems and powerful messagings that repeat, not exhausting people, and really making sure that their life is integrated in what they want to achieve.
I love this. So you've sort of answered my question, to be honest. The first two questions that I was going to ask. I do love that because I find, especially with today's internet, I don't know whether yourself personally, we can lose ourselves as women on the way we're meant to look, the way we're meant to be, the way to get viral. Like we get obsessed with going viral, don't we? Like
Yeah.
cannot explain it. Um, so I love that. So you said about soul driven.
Yeah.
So I love that you've said about soul driven. What do you mean by that?
Well, similar to what you just said about losing yourself and kind of being not the real essence of you because you're so caught up in being the people that you think that you need to be for society. I really like to strip back with my clients and really go into I guess I call it the spark or like your soul-led purpose of why you're actually here. Because people get so caught up on, they have a great vision, but they get caught up on how am I going to get there or the processes, and they tend to lead themselves into another job. And we tend to go out of our 9 to 5 to build that time freedom. So something that I really focus on is just making sure that people have a business foundation that they understand and know how to use. So something that can grow with them as well. Doesn't overcomplicate it. It just keeps it really simple. Automate as much as possible. Take that time back. And I believe that we all have a purpose here. And it's about you being that lead magnet, that spark, and people come to you because of you in your business. They don't come because of the AI or anything other, those little bits and pieces. It's the essence that you bring, your connection, your voice that really draws people in. And I like to ensure that people are seeing the real you. And it's not about those going viral or anything like that. It's about creating that connection, building that depth of community, and really leaning into who you are. Because I feel like the more you are able to shine as a person, the more that you empower others to do the same, and the more that it actually, I guess, blooms into your life. You become the flower, you become the blooming person that you're always meant to be.
I love this because I talk about this with my girls, my healing girls. I talk a lot about this with them. Um, because a lot of the time, what people don't realize is we end up in this cycle, just going round, going round, going round. And I can get caught up in it sometimes. Sometimes I'm not in it, sometimes I am in it. It doesn't matter how, and I think that's important for people to actually see in business because I get it. These perfect ones go viral and stuff like that. So people are like, but their downfalls are massive. I always say that to people. Their downfalls are so, so big because they've kept this perfect persona on for so long. And then when someone finally comes out from behind the scenes and says, you know what, they're not actually that person.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
actually, yeah, they have their grumpy days where they're throwing pens around the office and stuff like that. Whereas if you actually show that, I found that personally myself. Whereas if I show, I don't hide my opinions and I show that, I find people actually draw to me more because they're like, she's not perfect. She's not this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to word it. And that is part of the soul, sort of understanding the soul and stuff. I find it very hard though, because I've got two people in my tribe that don't want to be ever on camera. So it's like, I find it quite hard because sometimes you have to quite reel in the family stuff. Um, because that is one thing I think people seem to like to see now is everything that's going on in our lives, like even as business women and stuff like that, which can disrupt our souls. So, what would you suggest for stuff like that, if you don't mind me asking, lovely?
Yeah, of course. So I would say be very intentional, especially at the start. So if you only want to show little snippets of your life or bits and pieces, choose the pillars that you're going to show. I call them pillars, like just kind of what's the main five topics that you're going to speak about. So I work with a lot of mums, so obviously I do mum activities, but I tend to, if they're going to be like posts of my kids, it's normally from the back if it's like a long lasting post. Stories and stuff, I don't really mind. I'll put my kids up on stories because it's such a limited time thing and it's something that unless you're really um, in that kind of frame, you don't really copy anyone's stories or do anything like that with them. They tend to just be a fleeting moment and your stories are where your most warmest audience show up. They're the ones that really want to get to know you. So they're the ones that are going to be looking at your stories rather than your feed. And with my feed, I tend to do more things like I tend to do like day in the life of. So I'll have my morning where I'm getting up and doing yoga. I'll have my meditation. I'll have a snippet of maybe me pulling cards or going for a walk and then washing and then dropping off kids. It's not necessarily showing my kids or anything like that, but it's just me in like little snippets of my life and just kind of blend it in that way. Um, but I'll just build. A lot of people have a fear of being seen and being heard, and especially women. But that's a part of our healing process as well because we have been so heavily conditioned to be seen and not heard. We have been put in positions where we are the back person. We don't have a voice. It's only very recent that we can get loans and approvals and all that kind of stuff. That's very recent history for like energy speaking because we hold that energy from 7 generations back. So realistically, like you're still holding on to that trauma and a lot of those women are still holding on to those past traumas. And I guess it's those survival pieces that we've learnt over time, just to, whether it was you had a great childhood or a bad childhood, we've all had those survival things where that we just adapt and just hold on to so dearly. And we don't realize that now that we're older, they've actually served our purpose. We've come into that next stage and we're in that evolution where we are in a safe space, but now we can create that safe space for ourselves. And it's really about, I guess, going on that journey for ourselves of self-healing and just um, know that you always at least have one person out there, even if it's just your mum liking your stuff at the start. Like it's just about just get it in, get it messy because when you are in the more powerful space, I guess, you would have refound those techniques that you needed at the start in the early days when no one's really watching you. And you can make mistakes. You can just go through that evolutional process and really just lean into that experience because we all need to adapt and grow. And I know that I had a big trauma around that kind of voice and being seen and not heard and all those kind of things. And it is a shedding process, but um, just having the confidence to start, even if it's taking a video of you or just even the stories, because they are just those instant things that just disappear and your lives also just disappear. Like um, getting used to just talking to one person. Who is that one person that you really want to serve? I like giving that person a name personally. So whenever you're going on, you know that it's like talking to a friend. You know that what they're interested in, you know that where they are, you know how you're going to serve them, and you really come into that space of just talking to that one person so deeply and intimately that you attract more people just like that. And that's about just building that connection, and that way you are finding your audience through that and you are just building on it. Like I think it's, yeah, just about shedding and letting go and then just building on that.
I love all of what you've just said. So I'll explain, obviously you guys will know, but I'll explain to Megan, and obviously newbies won't know. Um, Basically, I hid for many years because when I was younger and I used my clairvoyance or I said something about it, I was straight away shut down. It wasn't normal. It wasn't okay to do. My tarot reading, I kept hidden for years. And the last 2022, I started to Empress Sparkle come from the fact that I wanted to do this and I wanted to use this for people. This is something I've done since 1999, so it's a long time. And as I was watching all these young girls, and this isn't no offense to the young girls coming out the closet and they're starting to post on TikTok. And I watched all these mistakes they were making. And that really, really worried me. So I started to post to TikTok and sort of trying to guide them and stuff like that. Some of them want guiding, but some of them are happy in the darkness. I'm all about the light. And I was a bit like, this is very, very worrying. This is very, very worrying. So that's where I actually started was um, why I come out the closet. And now I can't change the name because of how many followers I've got. So I can't change the name. So I've kept Emperor Sparkle. But I love what you said there because even when I did come out the closet, I still didn't come out the closet as me. I come out the closet as someone else in a way. When I
Yeah.
come onto this, I am still Amy now, and people now know my name, and family and friends now know it. And even though they take the mick, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Um, Whereas before, I would have been crying in the corner, like, I'm not being accepted. Why? And I think actually that can be felt through social media, what you're saying. So I love what you've said there because I watch my posts and sometimes I only get like 10 or 12 likes and I've got 4K followers on TikTok, over 4K followers. And I sit there going, why have I only got 10 or 12 likes? I've got 4K of you on here. I should be having at least 10%. So I should at least have 400. What is going on? But what I've come to the understanding is each person followed me for a reason, and it's their own reason. So most of my followers are actually from my lives when I was doing free tarot reading, which I no longer do because it, as you know, with readings, it kills us, it drains us.
Yeah.
So I no longer do them because I had a breakdown because of it. And literally, so most of them didn't actually follow me from my videos, which really shocked me because especially on TikTok, that's when I started to realize actually it's a very dark place. It's very, very dark. And I think that's actually another thing. Um, I think I'm actually going to ask you, lovely, is how would you advise your ladies about going down the scrolling rabbit hole? The rabbit hole of constantly trying to play. You know exactly what I mean, don't
Yeah.
you? Awesome. If you don't mind explaining that.
Yeah. Um, I think it's really important to remember that unlike most other I guess, things out there in the world. Software, you are called an end user. The only other people that call you a user are people that take drugs or things like that. So it is designed to be addictive, but it is a free resource. And if you play the game, then you can win. So it's just like a game of Monopoly or a game of any kind of game that you might be wanting to play. If you know the rules and the kind of things that will get you seen and noticed, it'll actually boost you. So instead of sitting there and doom scrolling and things like that, it's about leveraging it for yourself, for your business, and your message that you want to get out there. So if you are struggling to be seen online, I'll definitely have a look at just going on there 10, 20 minutes before you actually want to post anything and start engaging because social media is all about being social. So if you really want to go in there, start engaging with people. Go back to having conversations, have comments, likes on DMs, and be intentional about the people that you are doing that with because you want to be doing it for, like, especially if you've got a business purpose, your ideal clients. That's why knowing who you really want to serve is really truly important because you can go on there and just say, like for me, for my Instagram, I just love Instagram, so I'll just use that as my example. But I go on there and I know that I have connections on there, warm people that I've not necessarily done business with yet, but I know they're kind of interested or they talk to me and they follow me in bits and pieces. So I'll make sure that every time I'm going on to do something, I will go on and actually like and comment and do all that kind of stuff before I post and then do a couple after as well. And that will help push out your content to the people that you actually want to view it. Because a lot of people just follow or become Facebook friends, but they don't actually create that connection. So if you go that one step further and actually go, hey, thank you so much for connecting with me, and start just, it's not about being salesy, it's just about having a real conversation. So like you could be like, oh, hey, I know that we've got a lot of friends in common. I really liked what you're saying about your intuition and your tarot readings and everything, and I was really drawn to who you are as a person. And I be genuine in this. I actually do go and have a look at their profile and I do just be like, okay, well, this person is my person, or this could be my person, but I'm not really sure why. I'll tailor that start to really just be like, this is why I'm reaching out. And then just ask them a question.
Yeah.
And
See,
that's showing the program because it's just a program where AI is tracking you. So if you make that connection, they're going to say, okay, now me and Empress Sparkles are friends. I'm going to show you Megan stuff. I'm going to start showing you some stuff. And then if you engage with it, then I'll just start showing it more. So that's where you can learn to play the game in that sense, where you don't sit there and doom scroll. If you want to doom scroll, that's fine. If that's your thing, set a timer and be
yeah.
like, oh shit, that's 10 minutes already. I really needed to go do the actual thing that I needed to do, but that was fun for 10 minutes. But yeah, just I would say just be intentional about it because it is a way that you can really leverage and be seen. And so many people are on social media now, but that means also that so many people are on social media. So there is a lot of noise and a lot of competition, but we're not competing against each other. We are finding our own people, and not everyone's going to like you, and that's a good thing. Like, if you think about it, when you go to a party or walking down the street, you don't expect to be friends with every single person that walks past and you might smile at. You want to be those people that you actually want to have a conversation with, you actually want to talk to them, and you love what they do so much that you just want to support them and help them. And that's what it's about. I felt just finding those kind of hidden gems for yourself.
I love this. And the reason being, I'm all about making a community. So I'll hold my hands up. Most of my stuff now has turned to WhatsApp. Everyone
Yeah,
forgets that WhatsApp's a social media site. They have what's called channels on there now, so you can actually
yeah.
do your social media posts on there and stuff like that. And then people usually message me private from whatever I've posted in there, and they're like, "Oh, wow!" So they actually get an individual connection with me, if that makes sense. So I love what you've said there because it is about the connection. It's not one of the things that I think a lot of people don't recognize that even Tesco's now have to connect in this way and form. It's no longer Tesco's is just this CEO sitting in his office, okay, but people actually now connect with their staff on social media. I've watched it quite a lot happening, um, quite a lot recently, actually. I
Yeah.
was scrolling through, I do my 15 minutes, so that is what I do because that is what every social media requests of you. So the main social medias that I use, which is for me personally, is Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Actually, I'm always on YouTube. That's a lie because I always have a podcast going on there. So that's a bit of a lie. Um, and WhatsApp, I do what I call my 15-minute scroll, which is where I'll go through things. And WhatsApp, I'm always on messaging people anyway. And I love what you've said there because people actually don't realize that even these big companies, I remember I was scrolling through the other day and we were talking about Sunny D. So, of course, something with Sunny D come up. And we were saying about how I haven't had it for years. And this mum had dropped Sunny D all over the floor and it has stained
Yeah.
the floor. Like, we know how dangerous that stuff is for staining, don't we? Like, compared to normal orange juice, it is dangerous. And it has stained her white floor. And Sunny D have commented on it, going, "We're very sorry about that. But how did you manage to drop it like that?" And it was like, I just sat there looking at it going, they've actually connected with that type of people. And that really shocks me when I look at that sort of thing. And we have like John Cook, I'm mad on K-pop, I hold my hands up. And sometimes you'll scroll and he's commented on other people's posts and stuff like that. And, this is someone that's worth millions. Do you know what I mean? He's a top dog. And before people say, "How do you know it's him?" He's always got his phone in his hand. He's a nightmare. Sadly, the K-pop stars don't get a break, is the way I'm going to word it nicely.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I love about what you've said, because we're trained to find a community as in face to face, but we're not trained, especially us older ones that were like 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We weren't really taught that about social media, if that makes sense. We weren't really taught. I know you're all going to say it's because it weren't about, but that's actually a lie because I was on chat.com at 12. So that's a lie.
Yeah.
Social media was about just in a more dangerous form, a very much more dangerous form. Um, and this is one of the things that I've actually loved about that is because each of our souls connect. So
Yeah.
you know as well when it's a bot. Like I say to my girls, feel if it's a bot. You'll know if it's a bot account or someone posting just for the sake of posting. Them accounts do my head in when they're posting witchcraft just because it's trending, or they're
Yeah.
posting tarot reading just because it's trending. I says, feel them. You'll know that that is what they're about. And they're like, and I think because of the soul to soul connection, it's not even about social media. It's still a soul to soul connection. It's just through a different form. I hope I'm wording that right.
Yeah. That sounds right. And that's why also, if you are struggling to connect with people, a voice note is a very powerful thing. Like you could start off with just a normal message, but then actually hearing someone's voice, and you will be able to tell just by hearing someone whether they're your person or not. You like the way they speak, you can connect with them, you can listen to them, and it kind of then I find when you're reading someone's messages, you then have their voice in your head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And it's strange you say that actually, because there's something I've noticed about myself. Um, some people I will dare text and I will have to change the wording and that because I'm such a quick texter and stuff because I say it as I'm speaking. So there's some people that are
Yeah.
texters in like that. So then sometimes, fortunately, they get what I'm saying. But then suddenly, all of a sudden, I don't really like voice notes, but all of a sudden, I'll get this feeling of I've got to send this person a voice note. And that never makes sense to me. But now, with what you have said, I can see why now. Because sometimes I think, especially some of the girls which are on a healing journey, how do I word this nicely? They need that reminder in my voice.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I'll just suddenly go, and often I'll say, oh, I haven't got time for a voice note. I haven't got time to message back, but I'll voice note and then I'll message about 10 minutes later and I'm like, well, I did have time to type that message out. So why did I feel like I needed a voice note?
Yeah.
So I love what you've said there because that explains a lot. I think as well, because one of the things that we need to remember as women as well is even though people complain about our phones, etc., they're actually really important as mums. And I don't mean they being on it constantly, but I mean to have connection with another adult. Because I remember bringing my children up in the early 2000s, and you could go weeks without talking to another adult.
Yeah, exactly right.
So I think that's one thing that actually we need to remember is people forget how it actually was for us. Because the 90s, 80s, actually, I'm going to say it died in the 80s. I don't think 90s mums actually got it either. The 80s village had gone because the 80s mums were now working. They weren't
Yeah.
like the mums from the 70s and before, where they weren't working. So it's sort of like they're either working or they were with kids.
Yeah.
And they didn't have that. Whereas now our phones give us that connection that they didn't, the 80s and 90s parents didn't have. Um, and that sounds really awful, don't it? But it shouldn't replace time with your kids, so I will say that one.
No, definitely not. Presence is the biggest gift of all, but you also need to look after yourself, and that's um, especially nowadays, I think more people feel more isolated than ever before. And we have all this technology, but we're not finding, we're doing, a lot of people are doing just the doom scrolling to get by and just to have that little bit of little hit of like, ooh, looks fun. But if you find your community, and especially if you're going through a journey or like if you're in business or whatever it might be that you're on the path of, if you find people that are similar to you, maybe a few steps ahead of you, or like just can connect with you in that way, just having someone to talk to is massive. And just even if it's like, all right, I don't have time to talk to you all the time, but if I am feeling in a certain way and I can just voice all the things that's going on and I just need to kind of let it out and just be like, you are my listening partner. I'm going to share everything with you. And then that energy just can kind of then release from your body and you can move on a lot easier than just being in the house with your kids and then you're finding yourself getting frustrated and you just keep going down that spiraling path of it just being inside of you instead of being released. It's a really powerful tool to be using.
I, again, completely agree. I watched some of the girls come into the healing. I mainly talk about girls because men, if you do watch this, you make me very sad actually, because you won't heal yet. And the reason being is, as you were saying about women with generational trauma, they hold on to that masculine, I've got to be hard, I can't talk about my feelings, I'm not to be spiritual. They're still holding on to that. So we
Very
talk a lot
tightly.
about women because you men are holding on to that and you're not healing either. Um, but the women that come to me for healing, a lot of them, when I'm going through it with them, Sometimes it's just a place to run. Sometimes it's a place just to let out them emotions. I will admit, because I'm on the healing side, so I want them to heal. Sometimes I more talk about the fact of, right, okay, why do we feel this way? Have we done our meditation today? And stuff like that. So I am a bit of a nightmare. So I do apologize, ladies. I am. And sometimes it's very hard to remember what it was like in their position because I've been healed now 15 years, I think it is, I've been healed now. So it's sort of like, it's crazy. And one of the things I think as well that I actually feel like needs to be said, if you don't mind as well, especially on the business front, is make sure you're being charged in what you're worth. I've just put all my prices up massively because in the spiritual world, we're not meant to charge what we're worth. We're meant to, for some reason, we have that attitude in the spiritual world of what we do should be given, which I blame the church for, if I'm honest. They've got a lot
But
of.
they take money.
See, this is it. This is the thing. They take money, but yet for us, they put in our heads that we shouldn't be doing it.
And I think this is very much also a feminine space as well. I feel like men don't apologize about taking money. Like, if you think, I heard this example, a man skims through like a job advertisement. If they fit like about 20% of it, they'll just apply and think they're going to get it. Whereas woman will read the whole thing. If she can't get that 1%, she'll be like, oh no, but I don't have that, what they were kind of looking for, like that extra end all subject that they normally have at the bottom, and then they'll go, "Oh no." It's a, I think it's a learned confidence that we've been suppressed in that way of not having that confidence, and we've been conditioned in the sense that we are in a matriarchal, not in a matriarchal society, we're in a patriarchal society. And so the suppression of that kind of energy in women has been happening for generations. And so charging what you're worth is very important. But I would say too, like you, everyone's worth an abundant amount. But what is the value you're giving to the other person? And that's the way you got to look at when you're charging, because I know that you're worth an abundant amount of money. I'm worth an abundant amount of money, and that's just your birthright. But you got to look at it as the value that that person's going to get out of it. And I don't think that you should undercharge. And I don't obviously think there's a place to overcharge too. Like you don't want to do people a disservice. You want to be doing what you say that you're going to do. And if you say that you're going to do something and you do it, it doesn't matter what you charge because you've said you're going to do the thing.
I love that because that is so, so true. Because so I charge £40 half an hour. That sounds really expensive, I know, for my energy cleanser, which is a form of Reiki, but it also gets to the soul as well. And I cut people off for you guys. So I love what you're saying there because the reason I love what you're saying is I personally struggle to charge that much. And I go, is it worth it? But then I don't think about what's going on behind the scenes. So I see it's £40 for the half an hour. But what they don't realize is if they message me one day going, I'm really having a terrible day, I can't talk to my friends and family, can I rant to you? I'm like, yeah, of course. And I'll talk about the stuff of, I sound like a counselor to them sometimes. Why do we feel this way? Why are we processing it that way? Let's go back to where it comes from. So it's sort of like, yeah, okay, they're getting charged £40 for half an hour, which sounds like a lot. But at the same time, when you actually look at it, I'm actually helping them process more behind the scenes, which I'm not charging them for. So when I
Mhm.
actually, with what you've said there, I'm like, that makes me a little bit different from the other healers because you literally go to a Reiki session and that's it. That's all you get. You get the Reiki, there's no more to it. Whereas with me, it's sort of like a lot of processing, a lot of stuff because a Reiki session may make you feel good for what, a couple of days, if that makes sense, but then it's all piled back on top. We're not miracle workers like they try to say we are. We're not. So I love what you said there, because that is the important thing, is knowing your worth, what you're doing afterwards, how you're managing your community. I like that. Yeah, I thought just adding community there is really important. Because one of the things I noticed with some of my girls which were healing, they wanted to get into witchcraft. And they're like, I really want to do witchcraft. I really want to do it. I've been a witch since I was 14, so since 1999. So for me, it was like, I can actually help and process everything that I've learned since then. Um, I do find that a struggle sometimes, because they're all doom scrollers. So I do find it a struggle, because they will be like, yeah, but this says that. And I'm like, look, at the end of the day, I'm against that. But if that's where you want to go, that's okay. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes you may go into this and not know what your community is about. I didn't know it was going to add my witchcraft at all. I just thought it'd be fortune telling, and uh, I how would you actually get everyone ready for the change? Like when your community starts to change, I think that's actually an important question as well, because that is very hard for us women.
Yeah. And I think you've got to think about it as you're taking your community along the journey with you. Like no one is wants to stay the same. Like you don't want to be an 8-year-old kid forever. It's about the evolution and the change and the things you learn all across the way. Because like I might be saying something today that I might not agree with in 2 months' time, 3 months' time, because I am growing, I am constantly learning, I'm going through an evolutionary path. And my core values normally say pretty solid, it's pretty the same, but your passions and your interests are going to constantly grow because if you're not growing, you're dying. You constantly have to find that kind of like that spark and that passion and that purpose. And the same with you, like I learnt my all my intuition. I kept going down that path of learning more healing methods, more like light work, more Reiki, more bits and pieces because one thing served another thing. And then when I got into business, like I got into business because someone close to me was being manipulated in business and ended up passing away at their own hand. And so that actually led me down this path of serving other women because I didn't want them to be in a position where they felt helpless and felt like they couldn't do it. So it's about being okay to start messy. If you have an idea, if you're just starting out, it's don't try and build the whole Chinese like the China wall. Like you want to just be building it brick by brick. And as you go along, you're taking the people on the journey with you. They're evolving. Their life is not going to stay the same. They're going to keep growing with you. And as they come along the journey with you, they are getting more and more of you because you are learning, you are adding more value to them. And they're coming on that path with you. And people are going to come on that journey at different times because they're relating to you at different times. They might fall off because they're not quite at the stage that you are at next. And but you're going to be introducing and picking up the people on the energy and that vibration that are on that same kind of energetic wavelength as you. And you will still be pulling in different audiences because you're meant to serve people at different times. It's just like friends. Friends can sometimes be there for a reason or a season or there forever. Like there's always that lesson there, there's always that connection piece, and just remembering that you are just evolving and it's okay to evolve. You're not going to be the same person you were yesterday, and that's a beautiful thing. Like you wouldn't want to stay stationary. And I feel like we get caught up in that identity piece of like, who am I if I'm not this thing? You are you, like you are the I am. We are all one. And it's just about showing your spark and your essence that people are drawn to you for that reason, and that's why you're here.
I That is perfect, because that is one thing at the minute that I found. Most of my TikTok people, and it does hurt, and I will always admit this, and I've spoke about it before, where I've helped them, I've been there, I've supported them. But then when I had my breakdown and I said, right, I'm moving over to YouTube, they didn't come across with me. And it hurt. And I'm not going to lie. I think what you've just said is perfect, is accepting that evolution and going, do you know what? They didn't come across with me. That's okay. That's where they are. And one of the things that I've now found is interacting with new people, especially over on Facebook. I never interact on my personal page now. I always interact on my business page. And I found that that helps to grow so much. And I think for me personally, the thing that I love about what you were saying is because I think about that, about the fact of the process I've gone through, the lessons I've taught. And because I was very much about TikTok, 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 how do I grow now? How do I grow? I've lost all that. How do I continue going? Because I was all about that, part of my head was like, what do I do? What do I do? How do I process this? And then all of a sudden, someone said to me, come across to Facebook. Facebook's re-blowing up, especially with what I'm about, which is attachments, etc. So I was like, oh, and I think that is one of the things that we need to get ready to evolize, I don't know what the word is, to move forward
Evolution.
with.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I love what you've said because it is just, I don't know what it's just so important. I'm that excited about that one that I can't actually get my words out. So I do apologize, guys, because it's one of the things I even struggle with because I make a soul connection. And as you were saying about your friend, it is one of the hardest bits in business. When you make a soul connection, it's one of the hardest bits to get over, especially when you see that person as part of your tribe, as I call them. So it's like, it can be hard. But as I said, I'm learning, there's times that I drop off my favorite YouTube channels and I won't be watching my favorite YouTube channels. So I'm a bit like, what you're up to, Amy. Watch what you're doing, not just what they're doing. Watch what you're doing. And I think that's actually really, really important as well. And I don't know whether you think that as well, is people actually need to monitor their own behaviors.
Yeah, because as soon as you shift into that energy of that lack and that kind of fearfulness, it just what you focus on continues to grow. And if you're coming from that place of creation, like even if only 5 people followed you, when you sit down with 5 people in a room, that's still a lot of people to talk to. And I think that we lose that kind of connection with how many people that actually is. So just, I guess, don't be afraid of like just shifting and changing as you're evolving because that's just going to draw more people in the end to you. But also, one thing that I like is obviously you're on multiple platforms, which is great because it's not all owned by the one person. But also email lists, even if you're not super, super active, but having a way of just connecting with people and a way to, if everything got shut down tomorrow, how are you going to connect?
That is true. This is something that I actually worry about. For me personally, it'd be quite easy. I'm quite a people person, so I could go out there again and start, still holding and all that again. Oh, blimey, taking me back on the early days.
Exactly.
And stuff like that, yellow pages, all that stuff. And actually, that's a bit of a worry. I've never thought about that because that's a worry for the younger generation that
Yeah,
wouldn't
especially
know
when
how
you're
to.
investing so much into, and some people just like one particular platform and they're investing all in that. And then if their account gets shut down, if things get lost, if you get hacked, if you get anything like that, where is that community coming from? And that's why it's really great to have I like, and not
Yeah.
like a backup plan, but like have a contingency of like how you could connect. Like you can, it doesn't have to be extra work. Like you could recycle the stuff that you speak about in your podcast and just turn it into an email and then say, here, this is my link to my podcast. I'd love you to listen more or anything like that. And it can be that with your social media as well. Like have a listen to my live that I did, and just do a little bit of an email about it. It doesn't have to be anything like crazy. No one likes reading long emails because you get thousands of emails. They just want to show up and have that true connection. And having that extra way, or like your WhatsApp group is a great one because you're kind of off a different platform. And then those different community-based groups is something that's really, really important just to be across a different kind of few.
Yeah, because this is one of the things actually that I watch quite a lot. Being in, I'm really weird. Part of me is business, part of me is an influencer. So I'm sort of down two channels is the way I like to word it. But I think you have to now in business. You have to also be an influencer. So I love what you've said there because how many people I watched someone the other day with 1.5 million subscribers. Like this is realization. This person's making hundreds of thousands per month. And overnight, his channel, he posted up a video. He's never had a problem before. YouTube just took his whole channel down. Out of the blue, their AI system flagged it as a red, took his whole channel down. And he was like, what the hell? What did I do? What did I do? He was screenshotting his emails in between him and YouTube. Because obviously once you get over 100,000, you actually get a manager, don't you? So they give you a
Yeah.
manager to manage your account. And he was like, their manager was saying, well, we don't understand that we can't even check the video now. Because what I didn't know, because I say, oh, I'm not going to save my videos because they're all up on YouTube now. But what I didn't know was if they remove your channel, they delete all your footage. So they remove everything. So he's lost hundreds of videos. And I sat there and I was like, what the heck? Like this makes me angry for him because he did nothing wrong. He shared his video over on Facebook and he went, what did I do wrong? And everyone watched it and we were like, nothing, nothing at all. But I will admit, he went from only, I think he was on 300 followers on Facebook. And he went from 300 followers because everyone was searching, trying to find him, to 500,000 in one night.
Yeah.
So he grew massively overnight. But that is because he had to figure out another platform. So the only thing I don't like about Facebook is they only have the what's the wording I'm looking for? They only have the 30 days, so you can only post a video for 30 days, longer than 10 minutes,
Yeah.
if that
If it's
makes sense.
live, yeah.
It's a nightmare, isn't it? It's like, why? Well, saying that, I could moan, but Instagram and TikTok don't even let you keep your live, so
Yeah.
they're the worst, to be honest, for it. Right, my lovely. Would you mind doing your statement out? I've just realised the time, sweet. Would you mind doing your statement out for me?
Can I add something to that though, quickly, super quick?
Of
Um,
course.
what you got to remember, just like when you go to art school or anything like that, what you create in that space becomes theirs. It's their property. As soon as you put it up, they have the right to take it away. So it is still owned by you technically, but you are putting it on their platform, so they have the authority to do what they like with it. So that is just food for thought when you're saving videos and storing things as well.
That's actually a very interesting food for thought. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I store hundreds of thousands of photos, everything on them. So that's now made me sort of like go, oh, technically, in a way, a lot of Emperor Sparkle is owned by them. Do I like that thought? No, is the way I'm going to word it.
Yeah, it is very scary. But yeah, it's just one of those terms and conditions that you just go along and tick things and don't really read all the content just because you're using it. But it is one of those things like if it disappears tomorrow, they're not gonna be like, yeah, we can fully restore it. It's just it will be what it will be.
That's a scary thought, isn't it, really? That is, maybe I need to look at Google Drive updating so I can store everything on the cloud. Maybe I
Always
need
have
to
a
look.
backup.
Yeah, that's intrigued me a lot, actually. I have to admit that because I'm always paranoid my computer's going to go down. So that's why I store it somewhere on the internet. Because I've had where I use my computer so much and I can't afford expensive ones. So I get cheap ones and I go through them like mad because the hard drives always blow up on them. So that's intriguing. That's really, you have gave me a food for thought there.
Get yourself an external hard drive and just back up your things, as well as putting it on the cloud.
Oh, I didn't think about an external hard drive or floppy disk for me. We used to
Yeah.
put everything on floppy disks. I will definitely be looking at one of them. Definitely will be. Thank you, my lovely. That is something I've really had food for thought. And I'm glad it's at the end because then I can actually concentrate on it and I can go, right, that's a game. The
Yeah.
next one. Um, so again, I will ask lovely, what is the statement out, my sweet?
So, um, I guess if you'd love to connect with me more or follow me, I'm at Chico Digital on Instagram. That's my main place that I hang out and just kind of connect with me more on a personal level. Otherwise, obviously, I'm on Facebook as well, and I have my own community group in there as well, Mums Who Scale. But it was very lovely to have this conversation with you today. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, just deeply grateful for sharing what I view in the world in my spiritual process, as well as just getting women to truly spark and shine as we all deserve to be, because I feel like it's time to stop dimming our light, and it's just definitely time to be turning up that sparkle, turning up that shine. And if that is something that you're interested in or you're wanting to know more, I'd love to connect with you.
Brilliant. Thank you, honestly. I have really enjoyed today's podcast because I think doing social media as a businesswoman myself is these are the important conversations that I don't actually see happen much, if I'm honest. And I know I've done a couple over the last couple of days, which shows me that one of you need to listen, or it could be me. That's the
Something
way
that
the
you're not
world
hearing.
works. It could be either that or it's me. There is a possibility that it's me, to be honest. I'm a nightmare for it. So guys, thank you all so much, Sparklers, for watching. Do check Megan's links out down below. Honestly, absolute amazing lady. Absolutely really enjoyed this chat. And don't forget, guys, to keep sparkling.